All right. How did you get into sports?
Like work or in general?
Just in general.
Probably my dad. I think anybody gets into anything, usually they do it because their parents get them into it, or at least spread their interest to their kids. So I'd say my dad.
All right. And like whenever you got into sports, like what did you think your future would like be? Would it be like in sports or would it be around sports?
Yeah, I would say when I was 8 years old playing shortstop that I imagined myself being Derek Jeter. And probably if you asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up, I'd probably say like a professional athlete.
Like, did you, like when you were a kid, like what sports did you want to play? Or what?
Growing up, baseball was the big sport. I was really involved in basketball. I liked any sport, but those were the two main things. I enjoyed hockey outside. I'd do like roller hockey in the out in the on the pavement with some neighbors and stuff like that. But basketball and baseball were the big ones for me. Didn't really play football. Thank goodness, because I would have died. I was really small.
Yeah, it's a big thing going on right now. Did you play? I mean, obviously, but did you play sports in college?
Yeah, so I played baseball at State for a year. Then I played 1 year at Pitt Community College, and then ended up at ECU for a couple years. So, and that was baseball.
You say Pitt?
Yeah, Pitt Community College for a year.
And then both. NC
Play is a loose term. It was more cheering, but I was on the roster.
You were.
I do have a ring, so which is cool.
It's the only thing that matters. Okay, really. But what was your dream? What was your dream job?
Well, my dream job at one point was obviously, like anybody, I think, be a professional athlete. My dream job now, probably be like an administrator in the athletic department. Not like the AD, but be an administrator. That would be cool. Feel like a vital role to an athletic department.
Like just like in the operations type deal?
Yeah, either operations or facilities or something like that. Probably more operations.
How is your life?
Can I eat?
How have your life experiences helped you prepare for this job? Like any like manual labor jobs as you were growing up? Anything like that?
Yeah, my dad always preached like hard work and stuff like that. So I was always doing work around the house growing up. I had a job when I was 15, and so I always was encouraged to work. And then once I got into college sports, it's pretty much a full-time job. So and the expectations are usually higher with a college sports team than they would be if you worked at like a part-time job. So feeling like I was working 40 hours a week while going to school, and the expectations were very high, probably prepared me for life after sports.
So you think like college sport helped you the most?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, the answer no is really never a good answer for a coach.
Yeah.
So it was more like okay, and then figure out how to do it. So, and usually their response to no or not doing something right was a lot more harsh than like a boss would be at work. So,
no, okay, go run.
Yeah, exactly.
So
you're worthless.
So with this job, like what exactly are like the duties of the job? Like what? Like obviously you help us a lot.
Right.
What are the main like things that you have to do?
So day to day, obviously, I try to help oversee the students. That was kind of put on me, which is enjoyable for me. I like working with y'all. It makes me feel younger, and it keeps me going. And then other than that, it's a lot of day to day facility work and just maintenance around the building. And I think our total goal is really just to keep the building looking new as long as possible.
Until like it needs like a renovation, like it did, like
Exactly,
2 years ago?
exactly. So I guess, it got renovated about a year and a half, 2 years ago, and, we get a lot of comments about how it looks like it just was open yesterday, and that's kind of the goal. That's what you want.
That's what you want to hear.
Yeah, so that's good.
Follow up: do you enjoy your job?
Do I enjoy my job? I have to say yes, right?
Well,
that's pretty bad if I say no.
I mean, it's up to you.
For one, I enjoy that I have a job. I've got a lot of friends right now because I'm younger and they're freshly out of college, and it's a lot harder to find a job than you think. So I'm excited to have a job, one, and two, I work with a lot of people I enjoy being around, which makes it easier as well. And you have days where it's, you struggling to get through, but that's just part of any job. So I definitely enjoy my job, and it's around sports, which I've loved my whole life. So, and I'm at State, which I've been obsessed with my whole life. So I don't know if I could do this job at UNC, but being here, it'd be tough. But being here makes it easier.
All right.
Yeah. All right.
Would you like to obtain a higher level job here, if at all, like if you wanted to?
Yeah, so I started out as an intern here, and then got a full-time job with Turf, and then they asked me to come inside. So getting a full-time job here was kind of like a foot in the door, and ideally I'd like to move up here, but it's kind of hard in sports. So
How's it going?
good. Y'all coming in?
Can I come in and set up for
Yeah, of course.
Go for it.
I'm going to interrupt you.
So yeah, if at all possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
You have to show this to your class?
no, like, this is just a
This is just
recording.
for you?
Yeah,
Okay.
This is just for me
Okay.
and him. So is Raleigh or any location that you work, like, would it have like a major impact on, like, if you wanted to work there?
Yeah, I mean, I think most people have a preference for where they want to work. A lot of people don't have that decision, though. But, I grew up in Raleigh, so ideally I would want to work in Raleigh, so it kind of worked out that I got a job in Raleigh. I would have been willing to move, but North Carolina's kind of where I'd like to stay. Family's important to me, so I like to be close to family.
Yeah, like I get that. Like my, like I think two of my, one of my siblings moved to Georgia. Like he stayed in like North Carolina her whole life. And then, like, moved to Georgia. It was like the weirdest thing.
Well, it's tough, man.
Yeah, especially for her and her husband. It was really hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in this class, I've read that you should know an extensive amount of knowledge about like sport, of any sport, to like be well in like sport communicate or do well in sport communication. Do you think that's true?
I think it definitely benefits you to know a lot about sports. I think me playing college helped me understand the expectations of college coaches, which a lot of people don't quite understand the intensity of it. It's kind of like, for a lot of people, it's just a sport, but when you're an athlete in college, you really see the how important it is to a coach and how everything they're kind of on this itinerary that's by the book. This time we do this, and they don't really like getting off track from that. So understanding their expectation level helps a lot with communicating with them.
Yeah, I figured that would help. Like that was, like it's always like funny whenever people think like talk about like a soccer coach, like oh he's just a mean person. Like no, he just wants things a certain way.
Well, dude, when I played, we would have an itinerary of our whole weekend. It'd say Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and it would be timed out to like the minute. Yeah, it would be 5:05 we're doing this, 5:08 we're doing this, 5:10 you're sitting here, and if it got off that, it would put the coaches in a terrible mood, man. So
I can see that.
it's pretty important. And that just gets back to routine, though. Most successful people have routines. So
It happens.
yeah.
Has this job led to other opportunities that you've turned down due to your likingness for this job?
Well, I haven't been here very long, so I haven't had to face that yet. But we'll see, I guess.
So like not yet.
Well, it kind of happened with grounds. I mean, I enjoyed being in grounds. That was kind of like the work I enjoyed doing the most. But then I got this opportunity, and I kind of couldn't say no. Which it was hard to leave them. I was only there for a couple months, and I had planned on being there for at least a year. But
I get that.
that was a situation like that, I guess.
All right. Do you think athletes should be compensated, or college athletes for that matter?
Ooh, we're getting serious now. Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, and this is coming from a preferred walk-on, so
Okay.
I didn't get scholarship money either, but to me, if you don't consider scholarship as payment, it just doesn't make sense to me
I
because that's a
completely
lot
agree.
of money considering most people now it costs, they estimate around $250,000 to get someone through college. So $250,000 divided by 4 years, if that's not high payment, I don't know what is.
Yeah, like I completely agree. Like I've had a number of siblings that played in college that had like scholarships through their sports, and I just know like they didn't have to go through anything like I have to worry about like loans and stuff.
Right.
Like they don't.
Well, that's the problem. I don't think people understand the value of the education. I
Yeah,
think
they
that's the
don't,
real
yeah.
issue. So they go to school primarily for the sport.
Yeah.
School is secondary, so they don't really understand the value of what they're getting out of it. So I think that's the biggest issue. If you understand the value of the education, you realize that the scholarship is plenty of payment.
I get that. Did you ever get injured in sport? I know you said that you did, but
Yeah,
this is
so-
before.
Yeah, so in high school, I broke my elbow in the middle of a pitch. That healed fine. Then my junior year in college, I tore my labrum, had surgery, came back, started rehabbing, and the first time I threw, I knew something was wrong. Shoulder was torn again. Tried surgery again, and just never really recovered from that. So I definitely had a good amount of injuries. And getting back to the payment thing, I mean, we saw things that most college kids wouldn't be able to see because we were athletes. And I think it looks really unappreciative if you complain about not getting paid. I mean, we traveled everywhere. We got fed all the time. We stayed in 5-star hotels every weekend. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Stuff you couldn't do unless you were an
commodities
athlete.
that you wouldn't have.
Exactly.
otherwise.
We'd get per diem, like.
Yeah, like
And if you wanted to, you could pretty much like buy the cheapest meals and then pretty much cash all that. I mean, it'd be enough per diem to like eat at Texas Roadhouse every meal. It was ridiculous. Like, oh, here's $210 for the weekend. You know what I mean?
like, spend it wisely.
Yeah. So
Do you think that injury? Do you think that injury justified being paid? Like, do you think injuries are a justifiable way of paying an athlete?
do I think that injuries?
Like, say, like you have like a college, like a D1 basketball player, and he's expected to go to obviously the NBA.
Okay. But he gets injured.
Yeah, like tears his ACL. Does something like that. Do you think they should get paid for that?
No, I mean, I think injuries are just a part of sport. I think to get to the top, you have to be really, really good and really, really lucky. I think that's just how sports work. It's unfortunate when people have career-ending injuries, but that's kind of the risk you take when you play a sport. It just means you weren't as lucky as the next guy. And
Yeah, like I get like I understand that. Especially in like soccer or baseball, I can definitely see how that.
yeah, you know, you have arm injuries all the time in baseball. So you see guys like Matt Harvey. Matt Harvey, if he stays healthy his whole career, would go down as one of the best pitchers of all time. But is he going to even make it through that career? And that's one of the tough things about sports.
Yeah, I get that. Like my sister's tore their ACLs
Yeah,
several times, and it's just you're already getting treatment from the staff there. So
yeah.
it's, in light of the recent FBI investigation being conducted against so many prestigious D1 universities, do you think, like personally, do you think you'd ever accept like a payment from a coach? Like If they're like the highest bidder will get you, like, do you think you would accept it?
If I got offered money, it would probably make me uncomfortable.